The terrorists are apparently joining the war on terror. ISIS and the Taliban are now announcing jihads against each other. This is pretty compelling stuff, Lewis. Mashal Radio put out a report which says that ISIS and the Taliban group have announced jihads against each other. Nabi John Mulakil, who's the police chief of southern Helmand province, has told Mashal Radio during an interview that he received some documents in which both ISIS and a Taliban group have announced they are now fighting holy wars against each other. And there have been some reports of minor clashes between Taliban fighters and the newly emerged ISIS groups, which have been published in the past. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, which is the leader of ISIS, has called Taliban leader Mullah Muhammad Omar a fool and an illiterate warlord. On the other hand, we also heard that the Taliban warlords have been saying that al-Baghdadi is the guy that should not be trusted. They have been ordered not to raise any ISIS flags in Afghanistan. You know that saying, Lewis, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? This is a case where that doesn't apply. The enemy of our enemy is still our enemy when it's ISIS and the Taliban.
That is true. This is an interesting situation. I'm not convinced that this is good news for the country, for Afghanistan. But, there's going to be collateral damage, right? There are going to be civilians killed. But if they are occupied with fighting each other, I don't know. Could there be a positive outcome?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. It's not a bad idea to see these two groups work towards eradicating each other, aside from the fact that there's going to be significant collateral damage to innocent civilians. And I would be interested to see if this is a potential PR type thing where they're waging holy war against each other, and 6 months from now there's some kind of shift where then they're working together. I don't know. Something about this doesn't sound exactly right, but it is very interesting.
Well, they are different groups. I mean, I think it had to come to this eventually. ISIS is not going to let the Taliban rule. ISIS wants to completely take over. And so I guess they are standing in the way of each other.
Is there one group? I know that this is not what we want to see, but the U.S. does have a long history of funding groups that we at some point opposed or end up opposing when they turn against us with the weapons that we provide to them. If you had to pick a dog in this fight, and I don't really like that phrase because I'm very much against dog fighting. If you had to pick one of these two groups, let me rephrase, to support as the U.S., is there one that would be the one to support in a battle against the other?
I think we would have to support the Taliban because it's just ISIS just seemingly wants to kill and destroy everything, while the Taliban, they are completely nuts, but they don't want to watch the world burn, at least not their own backyard.
I tend to agree with you. That is basically the same thought that I had. It's been 5 years since the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill, and next we will talk to attorney Mike Papantonio about exactly that.